Hello everyone, welcome to the FreeCodeCamp Intermediate Algorithm Scripting Challenges. Today we are doing missing letters. So the missing letters challenge is a challenge where you have to find a missing letter in the input here that should follow alphabetical order. So in this case, if we go A, B, C, D, E, so from the first letter to the last letter, and we find out that there's a missing letter. In this case, we can see that it's D. Then we have to return that letter, and it will always be so that we can only return one letter because there's only one letter missing every time. So yeah, and otherwise, if there's no missing letter, we would return undefined. Now, how did I approach this problem? Well, I first defined the first character, and the first character in this input is A. So we got A there, but we're getting the char code. So the char code of A is 65. Now do not jump at me and think that I'm crazy or that I made this up. I'm gonna look very bad if it's not 65, but yeah, it's 65. So this is an ASCII table. ASCII is a convention that was developed a long time ago, which kind of specifies to a computer in the hardware somewhere that if someone is typing out A, the computer looks for character number 65. If someone types Z, then the computer is gonna look for character number 90. It does not know those characters from just because it knows the alphabet. The computer knows them by the number. And likewise, there are also numbers for the lowercase characters. In this case, it's actually not 65, it's 97 because it is a lowercase a. So the computer interprets these things as pixels that have to be arranged in a specific position, and it can only know in which position those pixels should be arranged by the character code. And those character codes, ASCII, they also apply to Chinese characters, to foreign language characters, or to even, I think, emojis. I'm not sure, but might be. So, going back to the challenge, we got the 97, not the 65, because it's a lowercase a. So that's the character code that we are getting because we are going for the first letter. Now we loop over the string. Could I have done a map here? Yes, I could have done it, but if I do a map and here I want to keep track of the iterator, doesn't really make sense because I would have to make a counter. So in this case, a map would be overkill. Now, within this for loop, where we are looping over the string, now we are looping over this, and every iteration, we start at the first letter, and with every iteration, we go up one letter. But for every letter we go up, we are checking something. So first we're getting the current code. So the character code, like 97, 98, 99, whatever, from every single letter that we are looping through here. So the current code, and it's gonna be reset like that variable is gonna be reset or rewritten every time that we get into that loop again, every time we iterate. If the current code does not equal the count from the first character onwards, then we know we skipped something. So go back one character code. This is the if statement that makes the deal. So within this if statement, we get the current code and we compare it to, is it equal, like the code of the current iteration, A, B, C, but then the ASCII code, is it equal to the first code? And the first code is the first code of the string plus the number of iterations And if it's not, then we know that the current code should be a letter that is missing, and we just skipped it. So then we would return the character code of the letter that is missing, in this case 100. Actually, we are not returning the character code, we are returning the character, because we get the character from the code. And from which code? So we are getting that from the current code we are iterating on. So if we skipped one letter, that's going to be the next letter to the letter we skipped, minus 1. So it's going to be the value, the code of E, minus 1. And the letter that is at that position is going to be D. And otherwise, if we did not skip any letter and we finish the for loop, we are going to return undefined. So just to sum up, the first letter, we count onwards from there. And we check, is the code of this iteration unequal to the value of the first code, of the first letter, plus the number of iterations that we've already had? In that case, we know that there's a letter missing. Now, why do we know that? Because it's always going to be in alphabetical order. So technically, if we have maybe 4 or 5 letters, and let's say we have 5 letters, and we start with A. We start with A, which has a character value, lowercase a, has a character value of 97, and the input is a lowercase. So we would sum up the iterations to the code of the first letter, and then we would, if D was not missing, everything would be in order, but D is missing. And because of that, we notice that from the codes that something is missing, because we iterate over this and we notice, hey, C is 99, but E is 101, so 100 is missing. Let's go back one code and get the character from that code. So that's basically how it works. If we run the tests, we pass them. If you have any questions or suggestions, please write them down in the comments below. I would really appreciate you liking and subscribing so that my channel can grow more. I promise it's not always gonna be coding videos. I will also talk about other stuff. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching and bye.